Diabetes is a chronic disease. Type 2 develops slowly over time, and then something tips your health over into illness. This condition can lead to many other serious consequences if it's left untreated. Controlling diabetes, or more specifically your blood sugar level, takes a balancing act. And that means avoiding some high-carb or sugary foods that spike glucose levels, trigger inflammation, cause more hunger, and sap your energy. Today we'll learn which foods are the very worst for diabetics and therefore should be avoided at all costs. Some of these seem very healthy, so don't miss a single one. And you'll want to hear a few tips about why they're bad even though they're based on healthy food, and what you can eat instead. Before we jump in, like this video and subscribe to Diabetic Talk to get notifications on all of our latest tips and information for living a healthy life. And make sure to stick around. When we wrap up, you'll see how to get 2 free gifts. Now let's count down the very worst food for diabetics. But please note, these are all bad choices. Number 12, gluten-free foods. Sometimes gluten-free foods are healthier. They look healthier if they're labeled organic or low fat. And it's true they might have less contaminants due to that fact. However, with the rise in need for gluten-free products, we've seen more snack-type foods. Many gluten-free products are high-carb, and gluten-free breads tend to be denser because they don't rise the same way bread does with gluten in it. The gluten-free product section is also full of snacks, meaning white crackers, pretzels, and breads. So, let's talk about the gluten version too. Number 11. White bread and crackers. This category includes many varieties that might not cross your mind, like instant noodles, pancakes, crackers, and pretzels. Saltine crackers have 20 grams of carbs, pretzels have 22, and graham crackers have 21, while all 3 hardly have any fiber at all. It's easy to see that donuts are sugary treats, but so are pancakes. Pancakes in themselves don't offer much nutrition, and we often slather them in butter and syrup. Bagels are also loaded with carbs, although you might pair them with cream cheese and lean meat. When it comes to instant noodles, they'll spike your blood sugar level, and you have to watch out for the outrageous sodium content. Along with these issues, many foods might have even more carbs than their label claims. A study called Food Label Accuracy of Common Snack Foods found that snack foods have an average of 7.7% more carbs than stated. That's not good news for anyone counting carbs or calories, and it's especially bad for diabetics who have to know what they're eating. So avoid white bread and any related product. But you can have whole wheat bread, and it's even better to pair whole wheat foods with proteins and healthy fats. Number 10, cold cereal. Guess where you'll see the most health claims in the grocery store? The cold cereal aisle. Some cereals with sugar as their second ingredient after wheat or cornmeal will still advertise their health benefits on the front of the box. Cereals are often loaded with carbs and added sugars, but they don't have much in the way of fiber or protein. What about healthy cereals? Well, even those are dangerous for diabetics. Even the healthiest of cold cereals are still grain-based, and they will raise blood sugar to some extent. Instead, keep your blood sugars much more level by having eggs and avocado and maybe some whole wheat toast. And while we're looking at breakfast, let's talk about oatmeal. We have to include instant oatmeal in the extremely bad category. Old-fashioned oats offer a lot of fiber that you lose with instant oatmeal, which is also full of added sugar. Another benefit? Old-fashioned oats contain a specific fiber called beta-glucan, known for its anti-diabetic effects. But instant oatmeal is just as bad as eating cold cereal. Number 9, dried fruit. This one can trick you. Dried fruit seems like a handy and healthy snack, and it does contain a little fiber and some nutrients. The problem is the sugar has been majorly concentrated. You have a very small snack that's high in concentrated sugar, even though it came from a good food like fruit. You could have one slice of dried pineapple, or an entire apple, or an entire banana. Which one is going to be more filling? The fresh fruit. Whole fresh fruit has liquid, fiber, and more nutrients because it's less processed. Don't be fooled when you see dried fruit in a section with healthy nuts or even health foods. Dried fruit is basically candy. Let's look at something closely related that also sounds healthy at first glance. Number 8, fruit smoothies. Again, we're looking at a food that contains fruit, whole fresh fruit. This one is often promoted as a healthy drink full of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Many people add vitamin mixes to enhance the health benefits, and a smoothie is surely a better choice than a soft drink. Yet for diabetics, the carb count is dangerously high. Like dried fruit, smoothies have concentrated sugars and often added sugars. We like to think that smoothies have fiber, but in reality, they lose some of the fiber when they're pulverized. So what looks like a very healthy option in between meals is actually a low-fiber, high-carb, and sugar food. You'll also be lacking healthy fat, which would slow the fructose absorption. You might improve this by adding avocado to your fruit smoothie, but there's still better choices out there. Whole fruit is just as sweet as an unsweetened smoothie, plus berries are super low on the glycemic index scale. For a refreshing drink, try flavored water or seltzers. If you're really craving a fruit smoothie, add in a protein mix, add a healthy fat like avocado, and keep the portion size very small. Number 7, honey and maple syrup. All natural food is usually much healthier. However, diet is a little different when you're diabetic. Honey and maple syrup are natural foods that are basically sugar. Bees make and eat honey because they spend all day working, often flying from flower to flower. Maple syrup is a type of sugar that maple trees live on. So while they're natural, they're not a natural food for humans to eat. These should be used sparingly and carefully, the same way you would treat sugar. Which incidentally, sugar is a natural food from a plant, but we concentrate it, and that's why it can be very bad for us. Number 6, flavored yogurt. Now, yogurt can be healthy if it's just yogurt. But when you add high fructose corn syrup, sugar, or fruit syrup, you're changing it into a dessert. Some small yogurt containers have up to 45 grams of sugar, and because the container is small, you're left hungry. Low-fat yogurt isn't better for you if it's full of sugar. That tiny container might be 2 servings. Instead, buy a bigger container of yogurt so you can make a bowl at home with fresh fruits or berries. Our next item is related to yogurt and can also trick you into thinking there's a healthy version. Number 5, ice cream. Ice cream is similar to flavored yogurt in sugar content, plus it has lots of saturated fat to clog your arteries. Ice cream can be even worse because it doesn't come in those tiny containers. You can buy it in a gallon and eat as much as you want while watching TV. Why is ice cream such a tricky food? It can seem healthy because it's made with milk and there's flavors with fruits or nuts, but the sugar and fat content won't help your health. Then there's milkshakes, which you might think are better because they're not as thick as ice cream. They're still loaded with sugars and calories. A small fast food milkshake has 19 grams of fat and 14 of those are saturated. It also has over 500 calories and 77 grams of carbs. Before you despair, there's some good news. You can make a chocolate shake at home that won't send your blood sugar soaring. Start by freezing a banana and then chop it into a blender with 2 tablespoons of unsweetened cocoa powder and either low-fat milk or an alternative like almond milk. You can add fiber with a tablespoon of flaxseed powder. Also, half an avocado will make your shake creamier and add healthy fats, and you won't really taste it. Number 4. Deep fried foods. Deep frying food usually means to cook it submerged in boiling oil. But there's also deep frying at home with a pan of oil, even if it's not in a deep fryer. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition said that frying foods changes the quality of nutrients and raises its calorie count. Researchers surveyed 70,000 women and concluded that frequently eating fried foods increased the risk of type 2 diabetes and coronary artery disease. Eating fried foods at a restaurant raised the risk factors even more. The researchers warned that eating fried foods also encourages drinking sugary drinks and eating larger portion sizes, both leading to weight gain. All these factors made deep fried foods one of the very worst for diabetics. Number 3. French fries. Let's look at one of the most common deep fried foods, French fries. Before they're fried, potatoes are basically full of bad starch and lots of carbs. Baking French fries at home is a little better, but most people have them with fast food or at a hamburger restaurant. A medium-sized fast food order of French fries has over 40 grams of carbs, sometimes almost up to 60. You're much better off having a baked potato with the skin and eating vegetables like broccoli with it. If you're craving mashed potatoes, you can switch to a no-carb cauliflower mash and keep blood sugars low. Number 2. Pizza. Is all pizza equal? No. American pizza takes carbs to a whole new level when compared to a thin crust style. But any kind of pizza with a white bread crust, meat, and grease is going to be bad, especially for diabetics. One slice often carries too many calories, carbs, saturated fat, and sodium. High carbs and high sodium is a very bad combo for heart health. This is one dinner choice that you'll want to completely replace. The one exception might be a cauliflower crust with healthy veggies and lean meats, but always check the label for carbs before you dig in. Number 1. Potato chips. What could be worse than a French fry? Let's take a look in the snack aisle, where you'll find hundreds of varieties of these addicting snacks. Potato chips are barely potatoes. They're soaked in fat and oil and covered in salt. There's decades of research behind their allure. Not only are they crunchy, a little sweet and salty, they have MSG and other chemicals that taste good. They're not as filling as French fries, so you could eat an entire bag without getting full. If there is only one food you avoid to keep your blood sugar balanced, it's this one. Go for whole foods and more nutritious snacks like roasted nuts, pumpkin seeds, or crunchy chickpeas. All 3 of these offer protein, good fat, and fiber, so you're nourishing your body instead of poisoning it. Use spices for flavor instead of chemicals in commercial foods. That's the 12 worst foods for diabetics, along with some alternatives. Hopefully this list gives you more knowledge and control over your diet and blood sugar levels. Please keep in touch. Subscribe to the channel to ensure you get the latest and greatest news on a healthy lifestyle. And are you ready for those 2 free gifts? Simply check the description on how to download them.